Welcome to another episode of the Be Wise Podcast. I am your host, Chris Y. Wright. And before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. If you've watched me before, you know. So today we're going to talk about the Candace Owens show yesterday. She went scorched earth on Donald Trump and the war in Iran. And although this is no endorsement for her take. This is also not an endorsement for her show. I watch her a lot. I like her, so I'm not bashing her. But I understand her audience and I understand how she operates. So Candace Owens, she comes on, I think 5 o'clock Eastern time. That's the stay-at-home mom, dinner cooking time. Throw the pot roast in the slow cooker and sit down and watch Candace. A lot of these women have children, so she appeals to their sensitivities. Candace is very consistent in how she discusses the protection of kids. Everything has to do with kids. When she talks about Epstein, it's about the kids. When she talked about genocide in Gaza, it's about the kids. She's talking about the war in Iran, of course, it's about kids. And even her investigation about Erica, it's what about the kids? And her audience, they love her. They love her. Oh my gosh, she's a stay-at-home mom like me. She's raising kids pretty much on her own like me. I mean, even though her husband's there, but he travels a lot and she's a mom. Even her new book is called Make Me a Sandwich. It's anti-feminism, anti-feminist movement. She was against the U2 movement. So I'm just trying to get you to understand where she's coming from. And I can just remember her recently cheering on Donald Trump, helping him get elected. Charlie Kirk helped get him elected. And she's going to talk a lot about where that comes from. Basically, the name of the show is Trump has betrayed America. And she talks a lot about that. But I just thought it was interesting because I'm starting to see TikToks and Instagram reels where people are pretending that it's their own thought. And I know you just watched Candace. And now there's all this sensitivity and mental protesting of the war. I also did a TikTok recently and I was saying this is a dangerous take. The way she, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson are protesting the war and being anti-Trump. And the reason I say it's dangerous because it was one thing to have war protests, people with signs marching up and down Pennsylvania Avenue so the president could look out his window and says, look at those people out there protesting. But it might have been a handful. It might have been 300-400 people, or even if it was thousands. They made, like they did No Kings. They could have thousands of people walking up and down Pennsylvania Avenue outside the White House lawn with signs. And it really didn't have a huge effect. If they continued to pound that drum for years on end, people say, oh, there was tons of war protests during Vietnam, tons of war protests during the Iran-Iraq wars, George Bush, WMD wars. But this is different. And the reason it's different is because just between Tucker, Candace, and Megyn Kelly, they have well over 20 million followers. Only 80 million people, say 77 million people, voted for Donald Trump. And if you get all of these subscribers to start listening to these YouTubers, these content creators, and I'm not even talking about the little guys. I'm not talking about Ben Shapiro with his 162,000 followers or Dave Smith with his 2 million followers. I'm talking 20 to 22 million followers from 3 podcasters. That is a quarter of the people that voted for Donald Trump. And if you can sway them to vote blue or to not vote at all, not only do we lose the midterms, but we lose MAGA, we lose everything. That's why it's dangerous. And I think they know it because I know Candace is of the mindset is to burn it all down. And she's felt that way since Epstein files, since Pam Bondi raised the loose leaf binders, the binders full of women, as Mitt Romney once called it. Burn it all down. I don't care. She says, I'm not voting. I'm done with the left, the right, the conservative, the liberal, Republican. Candace is done. So she's going scorched earth. That's why people are like, why is she picking on Erica Kirk? She doesn't care. She doesn't care. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, she said, burn it all down. After the redacted Epstein files, burn it all down. Tucker's on another mission. Tucker's on the, what are we doing with Israel? Why is Israel running America? Megyn Kelly, don't send your kids to die for Israel. So the three of them banging this drum daily, it's setting a dangerous precedence. There's good things in MAGA. I know some of you don't believe it, but there's some good things about the patriotism of MAGA. There's good things about being strong in our stance, and we need a leader for that. But if we're having three media content creators banging this drum telling us to not listen to MAGA anymore, don't listen to Donald Trump, that means everybody else who comes behind them will get the same treatment. And that's the dangerous precedence. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, whoever else. So I want to listen to some of what Candace talked about, and we'll discuss after each video. But here's how she feels about Donald Trump.
So look, I have not exactly found the correct words to communicate how I feel about President Donald Trump. I sort of ignore the topic of his existence altogether because it kind of sickens me, as it should. It should. If you were 2015, 2016, running around in MAGA hat, catching all of the figurative bullets for supporting him, standing up to the never Trumpers who are now running his administration, this level of deceit and betrayal should sicken you. Right? The human spirit isn't really meant to contend with that sort of deceit. You're not supposed to even fathom a scenario where someone like Charlie Kirk quite literally dedicates his entire professional career, builds up an organization meant to help Trump, to empower Trump, conservative principles, one way or the other. And in return, when Charlie Kirk is assassinated in front of the world, Trump dedicates a total of two tweets, 3 tweets at most, to demanding, and he'd never demanded an investigation. And one of those tweets that he dedicates Charlie Kirk is an AI image of Charlie hugging an Israeli flag. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
So she's appealing to all of those people that went to the rallies, that wore Trump shirts and hats and bought apparel and watches even, and said, this is pretty gross. And I understand how you feel. She's saying, because I too did that. I too supported the president. And now I feel betrayed. So not only is she appealing to these stay-at-home moms that did that, she's talking to the general public. Listen, I have my 2 million people that watch me every day. But if you happen to be watching this, I know you bought a Trump hat too. You know? I feel your pain. I did it. I supported this. And now I feel betrayed. So if anyone who was on the fence, they might feel that way too. And I know people that did it. I wasn't one of them. I did vote, but I wasn't the one. I have two MAGA hats, Make America Great Again hats. Neither one of them are red because something about that red hat just strikes triggers in people that we have no idea why TDS is real. But I do have two black ones, one with gold lettering, one with silver lettering, and I use it for podcasting sometimes or at my TikTok lives. But what she's saying is that we were against the never Trumpers. There was a lot of never Trumpers out there. There was a lot of rhinos, establishment politicians in the Republican Party, establishment conservatives, neocons, etc. And she said, now we've become that.
We are to simply understand, I think, that Trump has loyalty to no one but himself. It probably wasn't even anything that deep that they offered him. It was probably just like, hey, we'll give you a piece of real estate in Gaza with your name on it. Also, favorable headlines in the New York Times. We put that on your desk every morning and we tell you this is how everybody thinks. You think they still have power. Honestly, that's probably all it took for Trump to betray not just the legacy and the memory of Charlie Kirk, but also his supporters, the very supporters who followed him into battle. Some who literally spent time in prison after January 6th because they believed in him. Trump has betrayed every last single one of us, okay? Make no mistake about that. Trump is now a never Trumper.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, wow. Like I said, I'm not here to say I support everything that she's saying, but I'm starting to feel for those people. I supported Trump because I thought he was the better option. But there are people that I know that would literally go to jail or die for the guy. They love this man. And she's talking to them. She's not talking to guys like me who, I may vote. I'm registered independent. And this is not a scapegoat comment, but I'm just one of those people who try to take the better option. Kamala or Trump? Absolutely Trump. Trump or Biden? Absolutely Trump. But Trump and whoever, I'm about the agenda, man. You push, I thought MAGA had a great agenda. America first, secure the borders, law and order, crime, tough people. Pam Bondi came in, Dan Bongino, Pete Hegseth. These were alpha people. People who didn't give a damn about what people thought about them. And I like that. That's for me. But she's telling you that Trump is selfish now, that he's for himself. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can understand the people who will take this message and run with it. They'll run with it. She's saying that he didn't keep his promises.
Some who literally spent time in prison after January 6th because they believed in him. Trump has betrayed every last single one of us, okay? Make no mistake about that. Trump is now a never Trumper. The very people that we had to fight to get Trump into office, he is now partnered with and insulting us. And he thinks that we're too stupid to notice or something. That he promised low gas prices, that he promised no more forever wars, no more involvement in Middle East conflict. And we're now getting the exact opposite. And that's happening because he's a coward. He is a coward for doing this to the American people. And that's going to be his legacy. His legacy is going to be a person who could not stand up to Bibi Netanyahu, a person who just loves money and loves the idea of his name on anything. This is what the world will remember about Donald Trump.
Those are strong words. Coward, traitor, betrayed. I remember people used to always say Trump likes loyalty. And now she's saying he can't even be loyal to his supporters. He can't be loyal to America. These are strong words. I don't know. I mean, I would love to see something in the comments about what do you think about her strong words. Now she's going to get to the war. She's just basically destroyed Donald Trump in my first 3 videos. But then when she gets down to why we're at war, why the war in Iran, and
The United States is preemptively bombing Iran. And the explanation that we are receiving is because Israel was going to bomb Iran. So we went ahead and did it for them just in case Iran responded by hitting American military bases. Wow, that's actually very confusing. That's dizzying. There's no way they actually said that. No, they did. Marco Rubio came right out and said exactly that. Take a listen.
The assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
I'm sorry, but under that scenario, if Israel was going to cause and stop that chain of events, wouldn't it have made sense for them to bomb Israel? Bomb Israel to prevent Israel from bombing Iran? Prevent Iran from retaliating by going after American bases because of our involvement with Israel and constantly sending them munitions and things of that nature? Just don't understand how the logic is Israel can't stop bombing people, so we have to bomb people for them. That's what he's telling you.
whoa, advocating for bombing Israel? Is Candace okay? Is she safe? Do I have to fear for her safety? Did she not see Charlie become assassinated? I think she needs to be careful. Advocating? Maybe she wasn't advocating, but I wouldn't even put that in a sentence. Shouldn't we be bombing Israel? Yeah. I don't know. It's so funny because when I heard Marco Rubio make that statement, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense as to why we went to war. But then when you hear Candace give her logic, you're kind of like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's getting deep. I mean, here she is talking about how we justify strikes.
And that's what we're doing. We just murdered 150 Iranian schoolgirls between the ages of 7 and 12 preemptively. Don't worry, guys, it was preemptively because Israel was probably going to bomb them and kill them, so we went ahead and did that for them. So long as you say preemptively, it makes it okay. Don't even think further. How much peace can we really take? It's just too much peace. You say too much winning. It's like too much peace.
See, the kids. It's like I told you in the beginning, the kids. Now she's appealing to that Phil Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, Ricky Lake crowd, Sally Jesse Raphael if you're older. The 4 or 5 o'clock stay-at-home mom, kids just burst in the door, they're drinking Kool-Aid, Pop-Tarts, getting ready for dinner, snacking, and mom got the chicken in the oven, pot roasted in the slow cooker. And she's like rubbing her hands like, oh my God, my kids. I can't send my kids to war for Israel. And I think that video has 2 million viewers so far. God knows how many there will be by the end of the week. Then she goes back to punching Trump in the face again.
Let's actually take a look at some live footage of the peace that we are currently spreading in the Middle East. Yeah. Preemptive peace. We had to do, I can explain it. I can explain it for you guys. It looks like peace. I will reiterate my perspective that Trump allowing this to happen, allowing this to go forward, it makes him a traitor and it also makes him a coward. And you would do well to accept that fact. Okay, stop playing left or right. Stop saying it would have been different if a Democrat was in office. Stop playing Republican or Democrat. Wake up. These people occupy both sides.
See what I'm saying? She's appealing to left, right, Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives. Trump is a traitor. He's betrayed us. Like I said, I don't agree with this. I don't like this. But every day I'm hearing Candace say it. I'm hearing Megan say it. I'm hearing Tucker say it. And other smaller content creators. And I'm saying, this is a dangerous message. To me, it's not patriotic. There's a difference between patriotism and loyalty towards a guy, like a president. Patriotism meaning if you're not, when our young servicemen came home from Vietnam, they were met in the streets with being spit in the face, called baby killers, signs in the street, calling them names, this, that, and the other. But now it's the same thing when our soldiers are going to war and you got all these podcasters saying, what is it for? What are you guys doing? Candace is going to get to the point to say, get out, be a conscientious objector, which is very cowardice. I don't know. I don't know. That's why I don't like it, though. Not a fan. And so right now we've been doing a lot of airstrikes. We've been dropping bombs, basically long-range type attacks. And basically now the question is, are we going to go full-scale boots on the ground like we did in Afghanistan, Iraq? That's where mothers get scared.
And in that same vein, we have Caroline Leavitt signaling that a draft is not off the table because Trump is smart. Take a listen.
And the president had an interesting exchange on Air Force One over the weekend, Caroline. I want to get your take about this idea of troops on the ground. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander-in-chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops and our bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening for 47 years. They have killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers, and President Trump was not going to allow Iran to attack our bases and our troops and our men and women in the Middle East first, and that's why he took this historic action by launching Operation Epic Fury.
Best press secretary in the business in my life. She speaks for him well. Yeah. But anyway, some people hate her because she does her job so well. So yeah, so the boots on the ground is an option, not being taken off the table. And as long as we're doing long range strikes, people get a sense of, okay, less people get killed that way. Boots on the ground, particularly in the Middle East, gets very hairy. And we all know that. They don't fight fair. They don't fight fair. So yeah, they'll strap a kid with a bomb or a woman. You know, it's there's a lot of veterans right now with with missing limbs. I go to the VA hospital all the time. and I see guys with no limbs or people with PTSD, and a lot of them got attacked from God knows where. They didn't even see it coming. So boots on the ground it's a tough discussion to have. So here's Candace telling people well, she has to clear something up because she saw a tweet that was saying, they thought she was saying basically, don't honor your obligation to the military. But that's not what she was saying.
That's why Israel supporters like Bill Ackman went rabid over the weekend over me suggesting that maybe military men shouldn't sign up. Maybe you shouldn't sign up to join the military in America if this is the circumstance that we live in. Yeah, they want me imprisoned for merely mentioning that no one at this juncture should join the American military. Bill was retweeting people who were stipulating that it's actually a federal crime to tell people, apparently, not to sign up for the military. Why is that? Why do you think they're retweeting that? Why does the idea of Goyim not serving have them so stressed out? I mean, it's been them, they're the ones saying that every poll shows that Americans overwhelmingly support action in Iran. It's so overwhelming that they support what's happening in Iran, right? Americans hate Tucker Carlson. They hate Megyn Kelly. They hate Candace Owens. And they love Israel so much.
Yeah. She's not saying to, to like not serve your obligation or to not go to your assignment or your tour. She's telling people that you can conscientiously object to the war and ask for separation. It's not that easy. I know people who tried to do it during Desert Storm. It doesn't work. Or it takes a long time. It takes a long time. And you really kind of ruin your re-enlistment designation too. So I just know people who tried that because they got scared and they was like, I want to go home. You start calling their mama. But it doesn't work. It will take forever. And while they're processing that, you need to be out there fighting. Or you can go to the brig or be arrested under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So, yeah. She's talking about the conscientious objector right here.
In the meantime, I would like to reiterate my point. No American son or daughter should die for Israel. Flat out. No American son or daughter should die for Israel. Goyim, stand down. Go home. Find the legal means to exit the military, because there are legal means you can exit the military. You can, in fact, conscientiously object to military service. Military men, in case you didn't know, swear an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I don't really see that happening right now. I don't even see Trump doing that. From his flagrant violations of free speech to freedom of religion, Trump recently firing Carrie Prejean Bowler from the Religious Committee because Zionists didn't like her Catholic perspectives. Can anybody at all meaningfully point out for me, which specific portion of the Constitution our commander-in-chief is currently doing a good job protecting? What is it? Would you look around at? What has he done that you would be like, oh yeah, he is the person who is defending our Constitution? Better yet, show me which guaranteed constitutional right you believe that Trump will not violate for Israel. Can you point to one? Because I feel like right now we are all being forced into the servitude of a foreign nation. That seems to be the American reality right now. So I say, by all means, allow the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros to sign their offspring up instead.
To me, like right now, she's not even questioning. She's attacking the integrity of the President of the United States. She's attacking the integrity of the staff, the administration, the cabinet, those people that support him. She said, if you believe in this so much, then you sign up. Not sign your kids up. You sign up. I don't know. This is setting a very dangerous precedence. Um, yeah, this is not 300 people in the streets outside the White House protesting. This is different, very different. But she also talks about in the second half why there's this change in society, in American society. I did a short video today on TikTok earlier as to how our mentality has changed, where we used to be the world's police, and we understood that. We would say things like, wow, there's like a genocide going on in Rwanda. Bill Clinton, send troops. You know, there's a genocide going on in Uganda. Idi Amin, send troops. You know? And now, wherever it was, whether it was Grenada, Cuba, send troops. But today, we're like, hey, mind your business, stay at home. Don't get involved in other countries' affairs. America first. And Candace is because we've awakened. Like, Israel used to be thought of as this little tiny country that we were defending in the Middle East, surrounded by terrorist Islamic regimes. And now she's saying, no, that's not what it is at all. They have all this American money. They have American bombs, American weapons. They can defend themselves because they got the big bad big brother over here.
And I hope that what you take away from this episode is that this is gaslighting on a scale so epic that I asked my husband meaningfully this weekend. We went to get something to eat, and I just said, how much more are they going to twist the fabric of reality? Like, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen like them pretending like 99% of people support something that they just so obviously do not support. And they just do it. You can do a poll right now, anywhere, X, Facebook. Everybody loves it. They're just releasing bots, fake people on the internet to pretend that this is being supported, that people just love war. They just love dead children in the Middle East. It's just made up. We all know they're lying. They know that we know that they're lying. That's why they're angry. If they were actually winning, they wouldn't be angry. No one was angry during the Obama years because we all generally were still a bit sleepy, whether you were left or right. We were all generally a bit sleepy, and we thought that America was, to some degree, doing the right thing. We're not existing under that anymore. We've awakened to what they're doing.
She said the children again. I'm telling you, that's her whole shtick. The children. But, yeah, she said we were asleep during the Obama years. We had no idea what was going on. And now suddenly we are awakened. And that's bad for Israel. That's bad for Bibi Netanyahu, that Americans are waking up. Even I, who support the president, who support our military, think longer and harder now before just saying, let's go. Send in the troops. We have a different technology in our world now. We have 24/7 news coverage. We have, social media of all these people and voices and content and noise telling us think first. Don't just follow blindly. Therefore, the illusion is gone.
But that wasn't the power that Israel held. The power was in the illusion. The power was in the millions of Americans, the majority of us thinking and believing that Israel was innocent, believing that Israel was just a tiny country in the Middle East, believing that they had never done anything to anybody. And then they bet all that. They bet all that power. They said, you know what, now we've got money. Now we are controlling the troops. Now we are, which we've been doing for decades. We've got the military. We've got the presidency. We've got all this stuff. So now we don't even care. We're going to go mask down. No, the mask down. No, you needed your mask up. So this is the problem that they have. And this is why they're angry, because they recognize entire generations no longer believe them. Nobody believes in the innocence of Israel anymore. People are looking up and understanding how much we have been lied to. People are pulling their kids out of school so that they don't suffer that same ignorance that we suffered for a very long time.
So there you have it. That was Candace Owens' diatribe. And again, I wanted to show you that because she's 10 toes down. She's made her stance. There's no taking it back. And like I say, I worry. She really believes that she's safe down in her basement doing her podcast. And you can be gotten. You can be gotten. Is that proper grammar? I don't know. But you can be gotten from anywhere. You could be arrested for tax fraud, tax evasion. We could talk to the tech bros and be like, how do we get her off YouTube? How do we shut this down? Let's look at her past. Let's look at her record. Like, if there's one thing that I'm nervous about, that I get scared about, I love my country. But there are people that if the government wants you, they'll get you. Whether it's CIA, FBI, the government, a regular government, local municipality. If you're causing that much of a, problem, you can be gotten. All right, ladies and gentlemen, chop it up in the comments. You know how we do. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please pass the word that Chris Wright spread some knowledge on his show. Talk to you later.